Hello Steve, hello Joe. It's time to game classy.
We are recording and everything is good.
Excellent, very good. I had to fuck with my drivers for a second.
Your drivers? Are you running Linux?
I'm not running Linux. I don't have a neck beard that impressive.
No. Every time I see Linux, I'm like, I could probably kill myself trying to learn Linux.
Linux is one of those things. It's like it's actually fine, but like you need to be a owner operator to use Linux, and I am so far away from being a PC owner operator these days. That's not in my wheelhouse anymore.
Yeah, I just, as an older adult, I was like, I have much better things to do with my day than to use Linux, and there's no real reason for me to use Linux. Like, I'm not doing anything that needs Linux, so
yeah, exactly. It's one of those things. Like I think if you're doing programming, if you do game creation, so there's plenty of like legitimate reasons to like
if you lean back in your chair while playing video games where the chips are resting on your belly shelf, then you can use Linux as well.
Yeah, well, if you want to do dev for like the Steam Deck, because the Steam Deck runs off Linux, so like there's reasons to do it, but like I feel that it is like a legit, like it's a very intensive skill set. It's something that you actually need to know, so it's not something you just be like, oh yeah, I run Linux. It is not like that. Like you try to do something and everything fucking breaks.
Exactly. I don't need that. That's just called my life, Steve. Yeah. I don't need. It's like every day as I've entered my 40s, every step I take, I'm currently like, oh God, what awful chain of events will this set off? Me stepping into this room.
Yes, exactly. It's definitely one of those things. It's not something that like, it's for enthusiasts, really.
All right. So welcome to Game Classy. I'm your host, Joe, and with me as always is my co-host, Steve.
Game Classy and the butt.
I know that you said Game Classy, but the way you were saying the G, it made it almost sound like you were going to say Gorn. Like
the Gorn. Gorn. Hey, there's our Star Trek podcast spinoff name, Gorn Classy.
Gorn Classy. Classic Gorn. You haven't caught up on Strange New Worlds yet, have you?
No. I'm gonna be. It's gonna be my treadmill show. So as soon as the weather's shitty enough that I can't run outside anymore, I'm gonna be watching Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, good. Because the newest season was pretty good. I think that the first season was definitely superior, but I think that the second season has a lot of great episodes in it.
I think that, yeah, I was about to say, like, the first season was so exceptional. I would not have expected the second season to be even as good, just because the first season was so good.
All right, so like I think with the things with Picard season 3 and Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks being as good as they are, I think part of the reason is yes, Discovery's first few seasons and Picard's first 2 seasons were not great. Mm-hmm. Like Discovery's first season was like, Picard.
I did hear that Discovery gets a bit better as the seasons go on, though.
I have heard that as well. My season rewatch is stalled because I'm just like, I hate this first season so much.
Yeah, apparently the first season's like super fucking bad.
But I think it's what it is it's Star Wars fatigue. I think that Star Wars is so terribly mediocre right now that like anything that's remotely good is just so much better. I shouldn't just say Star Wars. It's all of Disney's stuff lately.
Marvel, we'll call it Marvel movie fatigue.
But it's not. It's just like everything has moved so to the center and it's so bland.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'd say that's the Marvel effect. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically you're eating scrambled eggs. Scrambled eggs are fine, but you put a little sriracha on there. Oh man, it's fantastic. And the Strange New Worlds is just that little bit of sriracha to get us off of the plain eggs.
No, that makes sense.
There are plenty of people in the United States who are like, I like ketchup with my eggs, and I hate them. I hate them with everything.
I mean, I like ketchup on eggs too, so sorry. You just got to put a little bit on there. Although I actually do prefer ketchup if it's not just eggs, like eggs over rice. That's where ketchup really shines.
Oh my God.
Gotta have an amu rice, my friend. It is a.
Well, I mean, I have eggs over rice, but I mean, I usually like something a little more Asian flavored with it instead of ketchup. So
Hey, the amu rice ketchup is a Japanese classic. You gotta write something in hiragana though, like "I love you."
but that's just not like Heinz ketchup though. It's actual like fancy ketchup.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Like you can't just use like regular basic ketchup. Well, I mean, I guess you could, but I don't use regular basic ketchup either. I always use like a jalapeno ketchup.
Well, yeah, that's what sriracha is. Sriracha is just a fancy ketchup. When I say just ketchup, I mean like ketchup or ketchup.
The red bottle with the white label that just says ketchup in black letters.
Exactly. Yeah, like the plain just corn syrup ketchup. Yeah, no, thank you on that. But no, if I'm going to eat my eggs, I want something fancy with it.
I will agree with that. Yeah, no, I do like my jalapeno ketchup though. That's been my recent what is it special interest in jalapeno ketchup.
I've been fighting with a friend about Andor, the Star Wars TV show.
Do you just keep calling it Blandor?
I do, and they get so mad at me. Like literally, I should post it. Like they're just like, Joe's just being what do they say?
Contrarian?
Joe with his hot takes.
I mean, I will have to say, I don't think calling it Blandor is a hot take. I'm pretty sure that's like I think a lot of people are.
No, Steve. According to them, everyone loves Andor. It's 12 hours long, and only 2 of those hours at the very end are good. And everyone's like, "Well, if you just sit through the first 10 hours of the show, no, thank you."
Yeah, if I don't have to, if the first 10 hours suck and I can't skip to the last 2 hours, then I don't care.
Yeah. Well, I think part of the problem too is it doesn't follow like standard ways of writing a TV show. You know, it's like you got to have a 4-act structure. Shit's got to happen throughout the episode, and at the end, there's got to be some sort of resolve to the conflict. But it also has to take you into the next episode. Like that's the way that it works. That's the way television works.
Yeah, that's how television writing does work.
Like if you want to, in the way that the show kind of does that, but it's more of like, where the fuck is this going? It's so goddamn long.
I don't know, man. I just want to see Star Wars cartoons. That's all I care about. Like, give me more Star Wars cartoons. I'm fine with that.
Like Rebels? You want to watch more Rebels?
You know what? I can't. I cannot slander the 3D CGI Star Wars cartoons because I've never watched a single one of them. But I really like the anime shorts one. I also obviously I love the Genndy Tartakovsky stuff. So like, I don't know. Just give me more of that. Like, give me short fucking stories.
Well, 3D animation has advanced in this day and age, so that like. Those shows should look way better than they actually do. They still look like terrible. Like
they cheap out.
Yeah, what's that Star Trek show that has that terrible animation style?
At Prodigy.
Prodigy.
If you actually watch Prodigy, the animation's very good. It's actually very good. It doesn't. I will defend it because it does not look good in stills.
I watched the first 2 episodes and the animation looks terrible.
I didn't think it was that bad.
I watch shows with my daughter and my kids all the time, and like we just finished another rewatch of Gravity Falls, right? 2D animation, gorgeous.
Oh well, yeah. Obviously, 2D animation is better. Like, I mean, I will stand by that forever. Like, 2D animation generally smokes 3D, and like the best 3D stuff looks like 2D. Like, what's the best 3D movie recently? The Spider-Man movies. What do they look like? 2D.
Well, actually, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie was far superior to the Spider-Man movie.
I haven't seen that. I want to see it, but doesn't that also look 2D?
It is. It does look 2D. Well, I mean, kind of. It's got a 2D-ish quality.
It's got that like cell shading going on.
Yeah. It's done with style. That's the whole thing. Like that 3D animation on Prodigy, it looks like Homer 3D from 30 years ago on the Treehouse of Horror 6.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
It's like, oh, that's Janeway. Oh, Janeway looks like an ogre. What's going on? Like she's telling me to get out of my swamp.
In my swamp.
Exactly. I don't know. Let's actually talk some gaming stuff since we are a gaming podcast.
Talking gaming.
Do we want to go speculative first, or do we want to go with cartoon based first since we have cartoons?
Let's go cartoons because that's a natural segue.
Dun, 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 dun. Life
Life
is like a hurricane here in Mork Borg.
It's cars, lasers,
Have you-
airplanes. It's a Borg
Mork-
blur.
Mork- Have you seen the DuckTales Mork Borg?
I haven't, but that sounds awesome.
Yeah, they have a Kickstarter. I don't know. It's probably not the official, guys. It's probably some. It's a Mork Borg compatible TT
No, yeah,
RPG module.
there is 100% more Mork Borg content that is not made by Free League than there is made by Free League by like a fucking mile.
So this new supplement is called Duck Borg, which is funny, but it is essentially a Mork Borg supplement that's all DuckTales based, which is funny.
Hilarious. Life is like a hurricane here in Duckborg.
Yeah.
That's good. I will say that first page with the illuminated manuscript.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
Oh my god, it looks so fucking good. Like, damn, they did a good job.
I like the description. Duckborg is a grindhouse fantasy tabletop game about duck-human hybrids banding together in pursuit of death or treasure before the world ends.
Yeah. That's very dope. Not gonna lie.
Well, so I was looking into it, and I thought this was hysterical. Is that so? The Kickstarter's out of Portland, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Mork Borg is out of Scandinavia, correct? Is it Sweden or Norway? Or
I believe it is Swedish.
Swedish, okay.
Which Mork Borg means dark castle.
Yes, because Sweden, I think, and if it is from Sweden, Sweden's obsessed with.
Actually, it might be Black Castle when I think about it. No, it's Black Castle. It's Black Castle.
Sweden is obsessed with Donald Duck. Have you heard about this?
I have not actually.
Yeah, like they have like some weird. It pops up every year.
Is it like France and Jerry Lewis?
The Jerry Lewis, he falls over. It is funny.
Baguette
is the height of French comedy.
Yes, checks out.
That's the key to watching French cinema is you just realize that French have terrible sense of humor and all of their like super serious crime movies are just their comedies.
The only French movie I've ever seen is Hot Tension, and I like that movie.
Well, no, that's the comedy for them.
The
woman, she is her killer herself, and this movie makes no sense because if you actually watch it, it makes no sense.
Yeah, it's still fun though.
It's still fun. No, they have they have to watch Donald Duck and his friends Wish You a Merry Christmas every Christmas Eve since like 1959. It's and like that's where all of the Donald Duck comic books just make a fuck ton. Like they sell everywhere over there. It's like they're Asterix and Obelisk or Tintin. They are obsessed with Scrooge McDuck and Donald Duck over there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's insane. I never really knew that until recently, but it pops up every Christmas. There's like a thing on there. But this Duck Borg supplement is made in the United States.
Nice.
And you would think that it would show up there, but they're probably like, I can't do a Swedish accent. Without sounding like the Swedish chef?
That's the only thing I can do. I can literally only do the Swedish chef, and I Swedish is an accent that like if I could probably like pick out, like if you were like, is this person have a Swedish accent? I could probably tell you yes or no, but actually being able to replicate it, no,
yeah,
can't do it. Can't even try.
It's for me, it's just the Swedish chef, you know.
I think the only accent that I'm like really decent at is like probably like German and Russian. I think those are the only ones I'm actually pretty good at.
Da comrade. No, it's you would that's how you start off with Russian accent. You say da. Yes.
This is true.
It's true.
Actually, and then you know what? And it's probably more of a Serbian accent because growing up, that's all I fucking heard. So,
yeah.
like, you know, yes, we know.
Well,
I don't know why I just turned into Count Dracula there, but
blah, it's Romanian. No, I always will do the for like my Russian accent. I try to do an actual like Russian accent, but it's funny because I'm actually Polish, and my Polish accent sounds nothing like Polish people. Yes, I did Polish. I put up the drywall. It's like a weird like Father Guido Sarducci thing I do.
Yeah, that's funny though.
It's okay. I'm Polish.
What do you think? Come on, it's all right. This is fine. You don't need to do. You don't need to be. Yeah, you don't need to be this way.
I don't know why I do that. But. Very strange. But yes, the Swedes would be the one who are probably like offended by the fact that there's like a DuckTales supplement to this game, but also like
they
strangely enticed by it.
I would say that they didn't make it.
yeah, they're enticed by it. They didn't. They're angry that they didn't make it. They're angry that it's being made all around. But it's already getting It's already getting funded. It made like 15K.
Yeah, it looks. I mean, it looks great. That looks fantastic. I wish them success. It looks good. It's a very clever idea, and the production value looks excellent. That illuminated manuscript is like fucking gorgeous. So like,
but that's always like that's their thing. Is like Mork Borg literally makes their supplement. Like in order to be a supplement for them, it has to be gorgeous.
It's true. Like they have that aesthetic that just really works. I'm a big fan. I've heard that there's going to be a version of their core book that is not I should say arted up, I should say, which
easier to read.
Yeah, and I mean, and I do appreciate that, just simply because, like, you know, having a quick reference is good. It's not that Mork Borg is that complicated, but they said that like some people have, like some colorblind people, like literally they want to do it for accessibility, from what I heard, because like some people who have like colorblind issues can't read the fucking book.
Oh God, here comes the libs. Gotta make everything accessible.
How dare they want people to read their book?
No one reads. I'm waiting for the audio version to come out.
I love it. Now, no, Mork Borg's great. And seriously, I know we've talked about it a lot, but like seriously, if you want a fast-paced game that's very easy to play, that's not going to be something where like people are going to constantly be referencing the rule book, Mork Borg's your fucking game. Like it, like not even close. And if you don't want to do like the themes of like, you know, the world ending or whatever, you can just do a little bit of modding and not make it that. Although I don't recommend that. I think you absolutely should use the countdown for the.
Yeah, that's like the whole point of the game.
Yeah, I know. It's like, cause I saw some people complain about that. Not classy listeners, but like some people, like some internet folks in the wild complain about that, and I was just like, you're missing the point. Like, and I'm just going to chalk that up to the Critical Role effect, where like people think that RPGs means you just play the same character until you personally die in real life.
Yeah. Well, it was a joke I just heard. 3 DMs walk into a game store and they start setting up their games. The first player pulls out his 3.5 and gets his dice set up and everything like that. The second player comes in, gets out his 5e book, opens it up, and pulls out his dice. And the third player just kind of sits there. And the 2 DMs are like, "Aren't you going to set up your game?" He goes, "Well, if you guys aren't going to play Dungeons and Dragons, I'm not either." I'm old.
We're old. Can't you see that?
But yeah, but that's exactly it. It's like, what's the point in playing a game like Mork Borg if you're not playing what it's designed around?
Play the game. And that's the other thing too, is like, it's like, you know, characters fucking die like left and fucking right in that game. So like, it is not a game where you're going to be like, yeah, we're going to play this campaign for months.
Yeah.
Like you're going to get like 2 or 3 sessions maybe. But the thing is I think I do actually think that like any GMs who have never run a game like that before, I really think you should try, because it will make you a better DM. Like having to like roll with the punches of a very hostile game to try and keep it entertaining, try and keep your players engaged and fun with the actual probability of characters dying like very easily without you doing. Because I mean, let's be honest, if a character dies in 5th edition, it's scripted. There's literally no way. Like you have to be beyond unlucky while your GM is simultaneously being incredibly lucky to have a character die in 5th edition. Like it's like I've seen so many games, like it's not even on the table. Characters are so powerful in 5th edition and monsters are relatively weak. Like it has to be a setup for a character to die in 5th edition. Unless, no, like I said, your luck is actually supremely terrible. You need to be failing everything and your DM needs to be critting you repeatedly for your character to die accidentally.
Well, that's like, so spoiler alert for the beginning of Tyranny of Dragons. I ran the first chapter of it. And at the end, literally there's a part that's written into the story of where one of the characters is supposed to die.
Mhm.
But it's like that's like the worst place in the world to have that as a scripted thing because you want your players coming back for chapter 2.
Right, exactly.
So I modded it slightly because I was like, there's no reason to have this character die right now. There's like no dramatic point to it. It was really dumb. But anyway, I recommend it. When this podcast drops, I think the Kickstarter will end on like Tuesday. I don't know. It says 3 days, so I'm just assuming maybe Monday. So you'll get at least 2 days to pick it up if you want.
Nice.
From Mork Borg, if you haven't already picked it up. I know a lot of our guys who listen like Mork Borg, so you might as well. And it's
I recommend it.
Yeah, I mean it's not super expensive. I think it's what, like $25 or something like that.
Yeah, and I hope it's one of the things. Another thing I want to show about Mork Borg, and if you make Mork Borg supplements, if you're a game maker and you're going to make a Mork Borg supplement, please adhere to the standard, please. All of the Mork Borg stuff is digest sized.
Yeah,
which is great. Like that is like, as you know, as someone who's played a lot of RPGs and has a lot of RPG books, and Joe, I'm sure you're the same. Like, the digest size stuff is always my favorite RPG content. Like when they did the 4th edition Essentials thing where all the books were digest size. Oh, it was so good because it's so much easier to just pass those books around the table.
You know, I will respectfully disagree. I see what you're saying, and I agree with most of what you're saying. I just like the bigger size in general.
Well, that's the thing. The bigger
I'm what
books
they call a size queen, Steve.
The bigger books are way better for like sitting and like going over the book and reading, doing that kind of stuff. But the digest size is better for play.
Yeah, I'm for sure. But like most people, I don't actually play these games.
Fair enough. I guess neither do I.
No, because what was it? Legend of the Flame Princess does all theirs.
Yes, they're all digest size as well. Mm-hmm.
They've really kind of stayed off the radar lately.
They have, yeah. No, you're right. I haven't heard any controversies with.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was for a while there. It was like left and right. Like they had some real bad actors inside that studio.
Yeah, well, I guess getting rid of those guys, suddenly people stop staring at you so much.
Yeah, I mean, let me see. Anything on here? Yeah, they're still putting out stuff. Everything looks pretty normal on that end.
No, they're still functioning. They've just been out of the spotlight because they got rid of their like dude who was like a crazy like Nazi guy.
Well, there was a couple things that were going on there, but
true.
Maybe they stopped. They made their books. One. What's that?
He was the biggest of their like issues.
Yeah. Oh, they also made their books easy for colorblind people to read.
Yes, that's good.
So they're not getting yelled at. No, I'm just damn libs.
Actually, I think Lamentations books are almost always in black and white. So if you're colorblind, you're good.
But they do the nice stuff, kind of like Mork Borg does.
Yeah, no, they do.
So the next news. Well, actually, I wanted to talk about something I had talked with you before. This is something that we've not really talked about on the podcast because it hasn't really entered the gaming realm. And I think now it's becoming more and more obvious about Games Workshop losing the Lord of the Rings rights.
Yeah, you were mentioning that. I was surprised.
Yeah, so I mean, there was some talk about it last year around this time. It was about a year ago that Middle Earth Enterprises, which is the kind of the what I don't know how you would call it, but it's kind of like the business side of Loader and The Hobbit. It's basically when Tolkien sold the rights to Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, this kind of formed up, and they're the ones who put out all of like media and video games and all of that shit in regards to Lord of the Rings. They own the rights to like put out stuff that's called Aragorn or Legolas or Minas Tirith. So that's who Games Workshop, I believe, had the what's it called? The business deal with to put out their figures. But Middle Earth Enterprises last year was bought out by the Embracer Group. And the
Mhm.
Embracer Group is one of those awful entities that you don't really know about that exist until it swallows up something that you like.
Yeah, basically anything called something group is probably Sinister.
Yeah. So because I guess originally it was owned by the Saul Zaentz company. And I
Mhm.
think that they were the ones who put out all the movies. So like when The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings got original cartoon releases in the 70s or whatever, like I think it was through this company, and I could be full of shit on this one, but anyway, the Embracer Group bought the rights to it. Now you would think that the Embracer Group would be like, oh well, we could just continue this contract and probably renegotiate it with Games Workshop, blah blah blah. But the Embracer Group owns Asmodee, which is one of the awful gaming groups, like awful conglomerates that really eats up the stuff that you love and shits out
Yeah,
horrible things.
Embracer's the current venture capitalist group that owns Asmodee.
Yes. So Asmodee, as we all know, puts out Shatterpoint and Crisis Protocol and all of the Star Wars games. So why would they negotiate with Games Workshop when they could put out their own game where you could buy 10 miniatures and it has to use specialized dice and 1,000 tokens to play a mediocre game, right, Steve?
Right, exactly.
So instead of buying one blister for $25, you buy a plastic kit in a box instead that comes with lots of cards, and it costs $40 instead of $25 for the one figure.
I actually really that's something that's been like actually bugging me about all the like recent like license games is like the component bloat is just crazy. Like I don't know. It's just something that annoys me. Like, cause I got like they're like Darkest Dungeon, perfect example. Darkest Dungeon is a game that I'm like eyeballing like a lot because I think it looks really good. But man, does it have a lot of fucking bits and gigas and whiz bangs, and it's just like I really like fuck, man. I want simpler games. Like, come on.
Yeah, I know you're absolutely right, and it's like even looking at it in the store, like the amount of shelf space that those games take up because every single little thing has a box for it.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it don't get me wrong, it looks great. It looks super good, but like, fuck, man, like that's it was instant. That's why like Monster Hunter was the same way. Like Monster Hunter, the minis looked gorgeous, the giant monsters looked fucking great, but oh my god, the number of components, the like cards, the player thing, and like it's more like a like if I'm gonna go that in depth with a board game, it has to be one game. Like Kingdom Death is I think the pinnacle of that ideal. Like Kingdom Death is the biggest game like physically that I can think of, like as far as components, number of figures, number of stuff you could do. But if Kingdom Death is your game and like that's what you do, like we play Kingdom Death once a month or whatever, or twice a month, like that's our thing. It makes perfect sense to have a game that is that level of depth, like
Yeah,
having all that shit.
I would say Gloomhaven, but Gloomhaven doesn't even have a ton of like expansions. It's just a huge fucking game.
Yeah, Gloomhaven's huge too. And it's the same thing. Like if it is your game, it makes sense to be like that. But the thing is, like when I think of a board game, that's not what I think of. I think of a game that like I mean, I guess I'm probably still stuck in the fucking 90s, but like I think of a game that has like a 10-page manual, maybe, and like your player pieces, and then like maybe a few like cards or dice or whatever, and like like the Omega Virus, like things like that. Like that's what I think of, like something that you could pull up if no one's played it. A regular non-gamer person can pick up the rules in like 5 minutes, and you can have a fun time playing the board game, and then you just put it back in the closet, and then
They still exist, Steve. They still exist, but the problem is that the big splashy ones like that, everyone's trying to reach the next big splashy one.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I would just like if it were me, I would focus more on like if I wanted to do like a component heavy big game, I would make the game components really minimal and just add more minis.
Oh yeah,
that's what I would do. I would do like if I was gonna do I don't know. Like Mighty Empires, let's just say I'm doing a Mighty Empires ripoff. I would be more focused on doing like, okay, so I'm going to do like the mini like terrain pieces, and then also like army figures. So like it's going to be like 2 games in one, But as far as that goes, like other than that, components are just maybe some dice. So lots of figures, less actual less chits, less cards, and oh my, like it annoys the crap out of me to no end, and it's so standard right now. People are probably like don't even care about like the different sized cards in board games drive me insane. That like actually drives me nuts. Like I hate that. Like I don't mind if your game has smaller cards, bigger cards, whatever, but one size, please. Like I've seen a game where it's like this game has 3 different card sizes for the one game.
That's Curse City. Curse City does that. They have they have like 3 or 4 different card sizes.
No.
Yeah. It's rough. So I mean like the problem with all Asmodee games, and it's part of my problem with Lord of the Rings, is like it's the desire to have figures that look like the actual stuff from the comics or the movies or whatever have you. It just inevitably, like, what's the point of having a game where you have to paint the figures to look a very specific way? Like, it was always my problem with Lord of the Rings to begin with, was that most of the, like, if you want to do your your Aragorn, you got to paint him like Aragorn looks in the movies. Not necessarily, but that's what you want. You want it to look like that. And it's like, you can't have a Captain America that you're like, you know what? I don't want to paint my red, white, and blue Captain America. I want my Captain America to have purple costume. Like, you could do that.
It just looks weird.
Yeah. But congratulations, you just wasted $50, right?
Yeah, it just looks very weird. It's like,
yeah. That bothers me. And so anyway, getting back to the Lord of the Rings stuff, it's like, so you wonder why over the last year there has been virtually 0 Lord of the Rings releases, right?
Yeah, just a few plastic here and there.
Yeah, nothing new. And like a couple character kits or like some resin kits or something like that, like the hobbits underneath the tree.
Yeah, and they did some really good character figures.
Yeah. So this all makes sense then, that Games Workshop is just like, well, we're going to lose the rights in like a year or so anyway, so let's not put that much effort into any sort of production. Like, we're not going to.
They probably had those in the pipe already, so they're just like, all right, we'll finish these models that we were already working on, and that's it.
Well, and I think they're doing a boxed game for like the Mines of Moria, which actually looks like a pretty cool game. But once again, it's just reusing the same plastics that have been out for close to 20 years at this point.
Right.
So that makes sense. And it also makes sense of why they're bringing back the old world, like why the old world and the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings going down and the old world going up makes sense, is because they have a whole new production slot like to go. Like, there's no resources being taken up by Lord of the Rings, so they're able to divert those resources to the old world. So like the mold makers, you're using those old plastic molds for Lord of the Rings. You don't have to use them anymore. Mm-hmm. You just use you put your old world sprues on there again, and you're not taking up any production of line. You know what I'm saying?
No, it makes sense. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, so that makes total sense. So to those out there, I would highly recommend, if you want to make some money off this, the number one thing that you're going to have to do is just buy those blisters that are coming out now. Because these blisters that are coming out now are going to be the rarest of the rare.
Oh yeah, you're gonna you just buy Lord of the Rings shit and throw it in your closet.
Yeah, because eventually it's going to become uber rare. Well, it might not, because who knows? Like, Asmodee is going to put out their what size will they do? Their figures will be 43 millimeter.
Yeah, no, they'll do their own custom thing that is definitely not compatible with any Lord of the Rings miniatures that have existed yet.
And then you could just. And if you want to play the rule set, because I've heard that the new Lord of the Rings rule set is really good.
Yeah, no, the current edition of Lord of the Rings is by far the best version of Lord of the Rings that they've ever done.
I mean, that rules engine is great, isn't it?
It is a very good engine. It is.
I mean, ever since the beginning of that game, that rules engine has been great, because they've used that in Legends of the Old West, Legends of the High Seas.
Yep.
I always like that engine. It's been good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Like, and it's surprising because there's so many good compatible games that have come out of Lord of the Rings that use that engine like and then not necessarily use that engine, but are like plays off that engine, like War of the Ring, which we've talked about 1,000 times on this podcast.
Fucking love War of the Ring. So good.
It's yeah. So, and if you really do want to play the game, you could always just use any 3D printing company because there's hundreds of them.
And yeah, was that the printing goes ever on?
Yeah, that's the one that uses the here, let me take a look right now. I'm gonna look at my loader file.
Yeah, I think that one is super solid. The printing.
So the printing goes ever on is the one that does a lot more of the book stuff. Okay. So the stuff doesn't look like the movies. It's more of like their interpretation of what came out of the book. So every month they release kind of a chapter of the book and some nice stuff, but it's they have everything that you want in there. MESBG is another one. I like them quite a bit. They do some historical stuff, but they're also like their fantasy stuff is more Lord of the Ringy. Okay. They do some pretty decent dwarves and some stuff like that. And let's see who else. Kurzluck Miniatures. They do Kurzluck. It's KHURZLUK. They do some great stuff. They just recently did some what's the Lake Town. They did some Lake Town figures that look really good.
Oh, okay.
And then finally Davale, DAVALE. They also, but theirs is actually like probably closer to the movie-ish, but they have some really nice stuff.
All right, I dig it.
Really recommend Davale. They have I think their elves look fantastic. They probably do the nicest elves I've seen. But anyway, like those are just like a couple that I follow. They do some really, really nice Lord of the Rings stuff. And so if you want to play Lord of the Rings, you still have the figures available to you. All you need is the rules. So I do recommend pick up the rule books and hold on to them if you want to have a good Lord of the Rings game. Because in a year or so, you're not going to have a good Lord of the Rings game.
Yeah, you're going to have one that has a million billion components and special dice.
Yes. It's not, and they're going to be like, oh, God, Shatterpoint's dice system is just so overly complicated.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like it's like I don't know. Well, we all know why they do the specialized dice, but it's just I don't know. If it's your game, it's fine. It's I don't know. I'm more of a what is it? I feel more Epicurean with games, so I think a lot of games ask more of the player than I'm willing to commit.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Which I think is still part of the reason why Games Workshop games are so popular is there are no cards, there are no chits. There's a book, your figures, and 6-sided dice. That's it.
It's true. I mean, the cards that do exist are all just rules reference.
Yeah, they're just optional. You don't need them to play the game.
Yeah, you're not. You're right. That was my biggest turnoff with Gloomhaven. Like, I did not like that you couldn't just do stuff. Everything was based on the cards. Not a fan.
Yeah, I mean, you could think about any game that has become relatively popular enough is that they don't have a ton of components. It's all simplified miniatures.
I mean, look at the biggest tabletop game, D&D.
Yeah.
What do you need? 7 dice.
7 dice. 7 dice and a book. Yep. That's it. That's why, and it's like it's one of the things that always kind of bothers me about Games Workshop stuff too, in some ways, is that it's become with the miniatures for Games Workshop. You buy your box of 10 figures, right? You have to assemble them. If you lose one of those figures, that unit is now unusable.
True.
Because of the way that it works. Like Age of Sigmar, it's like you have a 10-man unit. You buy it in 10 man. If you lose one of those mans, you no longer can use that unit.
Yes, your man's.
Or you have to say to someone like, this Space Marine represents a tomb guard, you know. It's something that bothers me about modern gaming. It's like it's not quite like a microtransaction, but it's like it's just another thing that you got to worry about. Because back in the day, you'd have your dark elf unit, and then one of your dark elves gets knocked under a table and disappears into the ether, and you're like, well, I'm just gonna pay for 19 dark elves now. I'll give them a extra spear, so now it makes up the points.
That is one of the nice things about Mantic games. That is one of their nice things, is like the amount of figures doesn't technically matter, just the footprint.
This is the footprint. That's all that matters. Speaking of footprint games, did you see that Warmachine's doing a new army for Mark IV?
No, I did not.
Did you know that Warmachine Mark IV is still going on, Steve?
I'm going to be honest with you. I did not.
So they got a new a new faction coming out, the Shadow Flame Shard. Ooh. You know, I have no idea about what any of this is, but it's like it's a cadre for Kador, essentially, is what it is. And they got snake peoples.
Okay.
So they're peoples with snakes, with snake bodies.
Okay.
Yeah, they kind of look like lizard men mixed in with like Warmachine, essentially.
But
like
it's
big
for
shoulder
Kador?
pads with lizard men.
Weird.
Yeah. I'm always amazed by the survivability of Warmachine. The fact that it's still around, it brings a tear to my eye, Steve.
I guess it brings something to mind.
I mean, could you think of more games that have just like bungled after bungle after bungle?
I mean, I think it's a testament to how successful they were, you know, what, 6 or 7 years ago?
It was like 10 years ago at this
10
point.
years ago? Yeah. So it's just a testament to how successful they were.
Yeah.
That they're still around because all of the money financing them right now is definitely from back then. Because, I know they're not doing great right now, and it's a shame. Like I don't wish ill on them. It just you fucked up. Fix it.
Yeah, I mean they were definitely victims of their own success.
Yeah. No, they couldn't adapt to the industry, really. Like like their own game kind of like they were buried under the weight of their own game's popularity, no question.
Yeah, I mean, and like the in order to maintain their success, they had to keep putting out stuff. And in order to keep putting out stuff, they had to add more rules. And they had such huge bloat with the rules and figures. And it's like, I'm sure they were looking at Space Marines going, how the fuck does Games Workshop still do this with all of that and still maintain a popular game? And we're drowning in our bloat. And Games Workshop is like, the trick is, mate, ignore all the other armies in Games Workshop. Just focus on the one. I don't know what accent that was. That was like Australian.
It was like kind of New Zealand, sort of.
Hey, mate. Focus on the Space Marines.
You just got to get your miniatures up on their dick and get your dick going.
Sit at a table on the dick, play outside.
Sit up on the dick. Get it going.
But yeah, I just wanted to point that out, that I saw that and I was like, no way. Warmachine's putting on a new army. Good for them.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's great. I mean, I hope the game's good, and I hope anyone still playing it is, fine. But I mean, I know I got rid of my stuff a long time ago, and like, I mean, it was pennies on the dollar to get rid of my stuff.
Their tournament structure was fantastic.
Yeah, the tournament structure is good. I don't know. The problem is they made a competitive game, but they made it too competitive. So like the actual like optimal gameplay was just very toxic and unfun. Because like, if you didn't know what you were doing, you basically just like you took one turn, then the other guy killed you.
What I mean by that is that the rules for their tournaments were very, very good.
Yes. Oh, they're the actual like how their tournaments function. Excellent.
Yeah, like the terrain, the way that the rules are set up, it's all fantastic.
Yeah. Everything was like very well thought out, and everything's like this is, this is that. There was very little like mystery when it came to anything with the tournaments. Like, to the point where like, in most cases, like even like a judge was like hardly necessary for Warmachine. But man, like I said, like just the environment was just like, it was just so that the way the game boiled down was just, too toxic. Like the instant win thing can't work in a game that has combos as strong as that game does. Like it is, and it's not even the case of like, obviously learn it, like blah, blah, blah skill issue, but like you can't have I've talked about Versus before, the Versus card game. I've talked about that before, but I mean, I'll say it again. Like Versus was the most skill-based card game that has ever existed, period. Like, it's not even close. Like, it is the game that is 100% like the better player in Versus will win, like, I don't know, like 95+% of the time. Like, that's how much skill in that game mattered. But the problem is that killed the fucking game, because you cannot have a game that is based on like community play, casual stuff like that. Tournament, you cannot have that where a rando can't, like in Magic, being the guy who like doesn't win very often, but then lucking into beating the best player at your store, like that is like a thing. Like people are like, I can't believe I beat him. That guy wins Friday Night Magic all the time, and I beat him. Like that. If your game can't have that happen, and Versus did not have that, like if you were that bad, like you would always lose. Like that 95% is done, it'd be 100%. If you don't have that, the casuals or people who just don't play very often, like they quit because it's not fun. It's not fun to play a game you never ever win.
No, and that's you're 100% correct on that.
And that was the problem with Warmachines. Like Warmachines, like I went to a few more than a few Warmachine tournaments, and like man, like it is not fun to just like whoops, I've never played against this army, so like I just fucking lost turn one because he's got this like combo I've never seen before. The gimmick level is just too high. I was like, ugh. Yeah, that
is true. The gimmick level is too high.
Yeah, it is. It's just that is a it's a problem. Like you can't have a healthy game together, and then plus you get just like the player base just becomes super toxic too, because then everyone who's left is just like a fucking angry sweat, and then when everyone's just an angry sweat, well, okay, now nobody wants to join the game because the only players left are just pissed off about like everything. Very frustrating.
And
can't do it.
Weird. I was thinking this because I was at the game store the other day dropping off my auction stuff. And I was actually looking around just the doing my normal browsing, and I was actually surprised at the lack of Games Workshop competitors in terms of like tabletop wargaming. So, and I was like kind of looking at it because you think back out, like you think that the 90s early 2000s, let's say early 2000s, you got Vor, Clan War, Warzone, Chronopia. What else? What were some of the other big games at that time?
I mean, Confrontation. Yes, Confrontation, another one. Like you have those games. Cool, right? Mm-hmm. And then you go a little bit later and you have Malifaux, Warmachine, all that there. You know what Games Workshop is competing against right now? Historicals. There's nothing. I mean, it's literally just Mantic, right? And Mantic is like a quasi competitor.
Yeah, Mantic is more parallel, and once Games Workshop releases the old world, it's definitely not going to be as
actually. I was. It's funny you mentioned that because I was actually just thinking about that. I think the old world release might end up being the biggest sales boost that Mantic has ever had.
Well, oh no, for sure. Like in terms of minis, absolutely.
Yeah, like there's gonna be a lot of people buy because I mean I'm considering buying a fucking goblin army from Mantic for that purpose because I mean I love their goblins. I think their goblins are one of the best kits they've made. I really like the way they look, and they look much better than the GW non-night goblins by like a mile.
Yeah, as I've been telling people who have been asking me about Old World, they're like, oh yeah, I've been thinking about doing a goblin army, like just like what you said. And my advice is always don't buy anything.
Yes.
Until you read the rules.
Yes, you need to wait. You need to read the rules. You need to know how it's going to, because like, are the old regiment bases going to be something you want to use? Like, is that a thing? Do you want everything to be on single pieces? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Is there going to be a benefit to putting things on single bases?
Yes, exactly.
There's a lot of things that are going on with those rules we don't know yet. So you need to figure out you need to wait to figure out what you're going to buy and what you're going to assemble, because there's nothing that sucks more than assembling a 30-man unit and painting them and finding out it's completely worthless in the game.
Yes.
Either the way that you built it or the way that it performs in the game, or it might not even be a unit in the game. You don't even know.
It could not work like that. It's like, oh yeah, the goblin equipment you chose doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, and like for example, my goblin unit that I have in my case that I built for 6th edition fantasy is all, or actually I think I built it for 7th, but whatever. It's all on 20 mil bases. Now we know the 20 mil bases aren't going to exist anymore.
Right.
So it's not like I have ways of fixing that because I've been in the hobby for long enough, but it's still it sucks that's how it goes.
Yeah, having to rebase your entire army if you did that ahead of time, like whoops.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to do that. I'm just buying a movement tray.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I'm just saying, for sake of example.
I'm building a movement tray. No, and so yeah, so that on that end, yeah, just calm down on that.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing you could do is you could always just build the minis themselves and paint your minis and not put them on any bases. That is something you could do.
Yeah.
If you're that excited, if you cannot,
are you gonna put them on clear plastic bases? Oh God, I hate that trend.
You know what? I hate it for wargaming. I don't hate it for D&D.
My D&D figures for the game that I'm running today are all on just black bases.
Black base is also good. That's actually the classic because that's what the D&D collectible minis came on. Just the black circles with no texture.
Black circles. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the way that I do everything. And
also a good option.
Yeah. But I don't do too much in terms of like dungeon maps.
Right.
However,
it's the dungeon. Yeah. If you're using those printed dungeon maps, that's what the clear bases are. That's where they really shine.
And then it's just to show the lines of the squares. So
yep, exactly.
Not a big issue there. But no, I got my game today, so I got the table all set up. I've put it on the Game Classy Discord. So if you want to see, if you want to see the chapter 2 table, you could see it there. I haven't put it up on my Instagram or anything like that, just because I know a couple of my players follow my Instagram, so they get to. But I like it. I like their faces when they see the setup.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, no, it's good. It's nice. I like the kind of like big the big like set dressing scene pieces for big events like that. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, so I've done a couple D&D things lately. Just go into like some random like encounters and stuff like that, and like the DMs, they do a decent job of it, but the presentation is always so lacking when they pull out some Nolzur's figures that are pre-painted and they're just they look bad.
The only one I saw that was really crazy was a group that had like for their final encounter where like it was like an Eldritch deity that got summoned, and like the fucking DM went fucking crazy out here. The fucking black light, the smoke machines, and the fucking mini was it looked like a huge whale that it was fucking huge, and it was suspended from the ceiling. Like that was very cool. I probably would have been I'm a sucker for that kind of shit. Like that was like that was very high production. I was like, oh man, that's so fucking cool. That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you see some nice and that's what I'm aiming for. I'm aiming for like these big set pieces that just look really fucking cool.
Yeah, exactly, and it's cool. It's fun. Yeah, I know. I dig it.
And it's like it's the what's it called? It's the influence of like the D&D influencer, I guess, as their term called. Where I'm just like, you know what I should do? I should do like a YouTube channel where I show how I build this shit, and I'm like. No, I don't want to do that.
No, I shouldn't.
That's dumb. That's gonna.
I do
work.
You know what is good though? Like what I like. I would personally, if I was gonna do something like that, I think. So it's just like my feeling on like the painting stuff. It's like I think doing it as like chatting streams while you're doing a thing. I think that's really cool. I like that. I don't like I'm not a huge fan of the like. I mean, and I guess I shouldn't say like I've used some of those painting guides if I'm trying to copy. Like I'll look like how does this dude paint celestial vindicators, and I'll like just copy his paint scheme and just like do it. I do like that, but I'm more of a fan of just like the interaction. So like having like a stream where like a dude is just painting his army and he's just chit chatting, and like it's like hanging out at the paint bar. I like that, and like that's something that I would do if I was going to do like a D&D, like if I was going to do my D&D build. I would do it as like a chit chatting stream where I'm talking about building it, answering questions about like how I'm building, and then but the stream is about talking, and then also I'm building a thing. I like that a lot. I think that's more fun than just like I'm going to show you how I did this.
Yeah, I mean for me, it would be like, this is what the stream would be. It's like, okay, I need these pieces of terrain. Okay, I go online, I look up like tents. Okay, here's the STL for the tents. Okay, I put it on my printer and print out like 30 of them. And then I paint them as quickly as humanly possible. And then I use dip.
Yeah, boy.
That's pretty much how my that's why I would never do that. I think because most people would just be like, all he does is just 3D print stuff. I'm like, yes, that's all I do. Yes.
Well, that's why I'd say it'd be more about the chit chat, because it's more fun to it's just hanging out, and that's the thing. And if I wasn't interested in doing a like hanging out and like chatting stream, I wouldn't do that kind of stuff on YouTube or anything.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's you want to see how I made these pink styrofoam hills? Yeah, I took a piece of pink styrofoam and I cut it.
Yeah, that's how it works, buddy.
That's how it works. Yeah, and then I went to Michael's and I bought some, Apple crate paints and
yeah, I'm heading over to Menards.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm sure that there's people would like it because people like essentially anything on YouTube. But
yeah, well, I mean, people like it's the interaction. People like chitting, sitting and chit chatting. Like, I mean, and I've done it too. I've been in a few streams which are just chit chat streams, and like I've been like, I'm going to listen to this while I'm working on something else.
See, I'm not a huge fan of those. I like most of my stuff that I like for YouTube. I do like. I have certain restoration videos that I like watching, but it's process videos more than talking, because most of the process videos that I watch have no talking in them.
Right. Yeah. I like the it's about the live chat, and sometimes they'll say something real funny, and then like I'll comment. I'm like, oh, that's funny. I actually sitting and watching is like not something I get to do very often. So
yeah. See, it's there's so many different things to it, and me, it's like I'm the worst when it comes to audience interaction, because most of the time audiences will be like, hey, I like this, and I'll be like, what you like is stupid. And you should feel stupid for like that.
That's dumb.
Then you're like, I like your podcast, and I go, you're stupid for liking my podcast.
My podcast sucks.
My podcast is terrible. I don't know how it's been running for 10 years. We still have people who like this podcast. I don't know why.
Well, just keep making it. It's what is it? That's what's the line? If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yes, there's always someone who likes. There's something for everyone there.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, for sure. Speaking of Instagram, one of our listeners, Andrew Park, his Instagram, I was looking at it the other day, and he's got some gorgeous stuff on there, man.
Nice.
I don't know if he's on the Discord. I think he's on the Discord. But man, he's got some definitely some what's it called? Rogue Trader era 40K stuff.
Oh, sick.
It is beautiful. He's on Instagram at Shinentai, but the S in Shinentai is a 5. So
does he have the deodorant ship?
No. But it just looking at his stuff, I was like, man, this is great Rogue Trader shit, and it's like really well painted and based. Oh man, it's good.
Nice.
And me, I don't normally shill for other people on Instagram, but man, this is some good stuff, especially our listeners.
I really want to do a I'm like right now I'm like torn on my old world stuff. Like I can't decide if I want to do my armies just like however, or if I really want to like lean into it and do the fucking red and yellow.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could say is that after painting an Imperial Fists army, I never want to paint yellow again.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, so just I keep that in mind.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to do yellow as the main color. I think I would definitely make it, the secondary.
Yeah, and it's also one of those things that like I'll text Tim about, like, hey, what's your recipe for yellow? And then he sends me a yellow recipe, and I'm like, this is terrible. And then I do it, and I'm like, God damn it, I hate you so fucking much. God damn it.
Yeah, I can't believe this worked.
Exactly. So I think the last thing. No, I think that's about it in terms of like stuff that I had to talk about. Yeah, I really don't have too much more gaming news going on.
Yeah, no, the biggest thing in tabletop gaming right now is still Lorcana. Like that's like by far the like biggest thing in gaming. And
yeah, I mean, and listening to people complain about Lorcana is one of the awfulest things I've ever read in my life.
Yeah, people are definitely let's just say a lot of people are experiencing tabletop gaming for the first time. Let's say that.
I mean, yeah, and it's like, oh my god, like some of the rules discussions I've seen on it online are like, you can't use your ink pot to do the blah blah blah, and the blah 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 is
so many of them are like, this person has never played a tabletop game before.
I mean, and I'm just like, oh my god, you know what this game needs? This game needs to be quarantined.
I mean, it's kind of already quarantining itself.
I mean, it just needs to be like moved off to the side, and no one should be talking about it except for Lord. Like there needs to be like special websites just for Lorcana and groups just for Lorcana, and they don't bleed into any other.
They're not allowed anywhere else.
Yeah. Like you stay over there. It's like Naruto players. You stay over there, Naruto.
You sand ninjas.
My son was watching Naruto the other day, and I was like, "Hey, yeah, are you a Naruto?"
Believe it. I tell you, that was at Comic-Con one year. Joe asked every single person, not you, Joe, another Joe.
Yes, the other Joe.
He asked every single person we saw in a cosplay if they were a Naruto. It was one of those things where like it was really funny at first, and then it was not funny at all, and then it got really funny again.
It's the best. Those are the best.
Yep.
Those are the best.
Yep. Yeah. That's exactly what happened. It was really funny.
All right. Well, you could go to the Game Classy Facebook page. It's the best way to help out. Oh, wait, shit. Screwed it up.
Planet Arbitrary Needs?
Yes. You know that like I was reading, what was that one of the things on the Discord where they were like, I can't wait for Joe to screw this up again.
Yeah, no, he says I can't wait for the same Planet Arbitrary Needs.
No, go to the Game Classy Facebook page. It's the best way to find the link to the Game Classy Discord. That's where we do all of our interaction. I put it up every, with the podcast. So if you're looking for it, you can find the Game Classy Facebook page. Usually underneath the podcast for the week, I have the link to the Discord.
Yep,
so that's where you're going to go. That's where you're going to,
interact with the community. There's been some excellent community chats, shit posting.
Yes.
It's good.
I do enjoy going to the Discord. I'm still upset that there is a Star Wars board and an anime board. But
look, those things need to be contained, just like you said with Lorcana. Because if you don't contain them, they're going to spread out to the other boards.
Exactly, they'll spread. It's like awful, like mold, like rot.
That's what I'm saying.
Anime goes in everything nowadays.
That's true.
Heated by anime.
Yeah, anime is just like there's no. It is not like before. Everything's just anime now.
There's only one good anime, and it's Ratatouille.
I like Ratatouille, and technically it is an anime.
I'm gonna make that T-shirt that just says "There's only one good anime, and it's Ratatouille."
Ratatouille. You got to do it, but you got to and the Ratatouille logo with like the little rat nose.
Yeah, exactly. Let's rip a bong and watch Ratatouille.
That's right. Hey, Peter,
I don't know why. I think Ratatouille is like one of the dumbest movies ever, but it's also one of the best movies ever.
Yeah, it works. I don't know. It like the plot is extremely stupid. Like the concept is probably dumber than the plot, but man, I teared up at that movie. It's a good movie.
My daughter actually went as the chef from Ratatouille with a rat on her head for Comic-Con.
That's fucking adorable. That's fucking adorable.
Yeah.
They're asking for food from Chef Linguini.
It drives her crazy because I always say, how's Ratatouille gonna get out of this one? And she's like, that's no one's name, Dad. No one is named Ratatouille in this movie. I go, yeah, they are. That's why the movie's named Ratatouille. It's named after the rat. It's named Ratatouille. The rat is named Remy. Well, then the chef's named Ratatouille.
Yeah, who's Ratatouille? Is he Ratatouille?
One of the best things about being a father. Purposely mispronouncing everything and calling things by the wrong names.
Just dad humor.
Dad humor is the best. If you want to see more of my stuff, you can go to the Game Classy Joe on Instagram. It's where I post most of my stuff. I'm putting up a lot of my Sons of Horror stuff that I'm working on for the team tournament for Adepticon next year, or in March, the next Adepticon.
Yes,
I guess it is next year. Yeah,
it's
March next year. There you go. And Steve is still banned from all major platforms, so you got to go to the Discord to interact with Steve.
They're silencing my voice. I'm being silenced.
Yes, you can go on Threads. I don't think Threads is banning anybody for threatening politicians yet.
I don't think Threads functions.
I go on there; it'd be great once in a while.
Does it even work? I've heard it's like the shittiest algorithm ever.
I mean, I don't know. My terms. I'm an old man, Steve. You're an old man too. My algorithm, I just want to see the stuff that I am subscribed to. I don't want to see anything other than the stuff that I subscribe to.
Good fucking luck.
I know.
Good fucking luck. Just actually wanting to see what you're like subscribed to. Yeah, good fucking luck, bro.
Well, I've added like because I use Firefox, and I got like 18 different extensions on my Firefox that prevent people from that prevent websites from showing me shit that I don't want to see.
Firefox is the best.
Yes. I have like my Facebook on Firefox is so heavily modded that I really only see like 2 things. That's it. When
Yeah,
I go on there, because it doesn't show
like,
me any ads. It doesn't show me any like recommendations.
Yup. Yeah. Unironically, like I will shill face for Firefox always, and if for nothing else, ad blocker can't be stopped on Firefox, because currently, no matter what, like basically if you're using any browser, if you're using Opera, if you're using Chrome, Edge, whatever, those are all Chromium based. So what they did is they deployed countermeasures for the ad blockers on Chromium browsers. So in case you're wondering why your ad blockers suddenly stopped working on your browser, it's because Google literally kneecapped the ability to do ad blocking.
Yeah.
But you know what's not Chromium based? Fucking Firefox. So you know what works on Firefox? Ad blockers.
Yeah.
Shocker. Yeah. So maybe
Shocker.
you know, like maybe give Firefox a shot. Yeah, I recommend it.
Yeah. So yes, banned on all major platforms. That's what I said.
Yes.
If you want to help out the podcast, you can like, comment, subscribe on the iTunes, or you can like, comment, subscribe on the YouTubes, which I put it up there for some odd reason, even though I don't know why I do it.
I will be trying Blue Sky if I get an invite, though.
Dun 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 dun. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Sun is shining in the sky.
There ain't a cloud inside.
Oh, you know what? You know what I forgot to talk about? 2 new games that popped up in my. They're kind of historical based. There is one that just came out. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, and I know this is terrible for the other podcast, but it's a World War I game. It's about if Doggerland didn't sink. It's on. It just came out. It's like skirmish based, so you use World War I minis, but it has like wizards and shit in it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
World War I with wizards sounds pretty dope. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's a war transformed. That's what it is. World War I on the Doggerland front. So it looks interesting. It just got released. I haven't had a chance to really dig into the rules because we just haven't gotten them out here yet. Or it actually comes out on Halloween this year. So we haven't gotten anything on it. I haven't seen anything about it, but it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds dope.
Yeah. It's like in that vein of Silver Bayonet and with you know, all of those smaller games like that, Frostgrave, Stargrave, kind of it looks like that. It has that kind of feel to it, so I'm kind of excited about it.
It sounds dope.
And the other one that I'm interested in is a Napoleon game, Steve, a Napoleonic game.
No, not Napoleonic.
It is called Valor and Fortitude.
All right.
It is, and this is the only reason why I'm interested in it is it's because it's a Napoleonic game and it's written by Jervis Johnson and the Perry brothers.
Okay.
So it's like you say like, oh no, Napoleonic, but then you hear that name and you're like, okay, it's got some cachet. It's probably a decent game.
Yeah, the rules will probably be good. I'm not interested in the subject matter, but the rules will probably be solid.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you don't want to play necessarily play Napoleons. You don't want to play the Napoleons.
I don't want to play no Napoleons.
But their rules engine is probably good because Jervis Johnson really doesn't put out bad rule sets.
No. Yeah, he's like his level of quality is pretty consistent, and the consistency is generally pretty good.
Yeah, you just got to remember that Jervis Johnson doesn't necessarily make competitive rule sets anymore.
No, he does not do that. Which is, I mean, as long as you accept that, you know.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So until next time, Steve.
See you in the world of tomorrow.
Later.
Game Classy.